Professor Bruno here, and welcome once again to yet another Cartoon Theory. Now, as you already know, I talked about the Fairly OddParents twice in this miniseries, but I'm going to talk about it again. This time I'm going to ask, why do I think School's Out the Musical is the best Fairly OddParents special? That special hardly ever gets talked about if you compare it to Abracadastrophe or Channel Chasers. I think there are some people out there besides me who think that School's Out is the best special, but they don't always consider it as big as those two specials I mentioned. I want to talk about School's Out the Musical, explain why I think it's the best at best. It's not a review, it's just an opinion. Feel free to talk about your feelings for School's Out the Musical down in the comments. If you were to ask me where could I rank it if I did a top 10 favorite episodes of my Fairly OddParents, I'd put it number 5. Although many people don't talk about it much, I think School's Out is one of the finest specials the Fairly OddParents did, and I want to explain why that is. And first off, the reason is not because of the comedy. Don't get me wrong, the special is funny, but so many fans consider episodes as funnier than School's Out the Musical. So, why do I remember that episode more than the two TV movies? Let's start with the fact that Floppy Bob is the protagonist and not just Timmy. And while there are other episodes where Timmy's friends are the protagonists, it doesn't happen that often. And I think he's a very interesting character, Floppy Bob that is. He learned that he was used by the Pixies to be a boring salesman and owner of his so-called learnatorium. To add on to that, although he may seem like a villain, he realizes his mistake in the climax of the special, when he starts thinking out loud what Timmy had told him. Very few antagonists in TV shows or movies get redeeming qualities unless you're Helga. And Floppy Bob is victorious in the end with Timmy. They fix up Camp Learnatorium to be a more fun daycare center for the children, which doesn't happen very often. Not to mention the Pixies, voiced by Ben Stein, who are a great foil to the fairies and Floppy Bob, and they make great antagonists in the special. They are a perfect rival for the fairies because they may be able to produce magic, but they prefer to use cell phones and deadpan looks like triangle caps and gray office suits. So you'll want to root for Timmy and his friends because they know when to have fun and when not to have fun. Another thing that's unusual about this episode is there are a lot of characters in it. Not everyone. Tad Chen aren't there. Principal Waxplax isn't there. Veronica gets a few lines, but not a lot. Tootie only gets one, and Trixie, of course, only sings in the ensemble. But aside from that, most characters make an appearance. You get Chester, AJ, Sanjay, you've got Mr. Crocker, as well as Timmy, Cosmo, Wanda, Francis, Mr. and Mrs. Turner, Chet You Betcha, the Mayor, and Sheldon Dinkelberg. It's nice to see all these characters in one episode, which doesn't happen often. I mean, sure, we get it in Wishology and we get it in Abracadastrophe, but it just doesn't happen frequently. Even if not all of them get to do something very important. For example, Trixie doesn't get to do much, and Tootie really only has one thing that she does in being the police chief. It's cool to see them there. They were incorporated, and most of the characters do have an interesting bit that goes along with them. In terms of the story, it's a summer tale. It's the story of a bunch of kids who have plans for their summer vacation, and a snobby businessman tries to turn down all the fun. And the children have to, despite all the odds, rise up to the challenge and show the businessman that there's more to life than boredom. Of course, instead of being teenagers, they had actual children. That's kind of how the Fairly OddParents takes that and uses it in a very interesting way. And another great thing about the special is that it was a musical. Most of the songs aren't used for filler, but they help tell the story and keep it going. That's cool. The Fairly OddParents does use some musical numbers, but not often. Musically speaking, when Timmy and the others are singing, it looks pretty good. I'm pretty sure Alan Menken would have been proud. That leads me into the highlight of the special, the Pixies rap. Of course, the song isn't sung by Ben Stein. Sure, it is sung by the Pixies, but it was actually sung by Method Man and Radman, who are actual rappers. A very catchy tune. You have it with the Pixies doing all the dance movements, and Jorgen von Strangle having his little deadpan reaction, and Floppy Bob's scared reaction to their rapping and Where's the Fun. It all comes together and creates great music and great visuals in Fairly Odd history, in my opinion. So that's my theory as to why I love this episode. I mean, this episode does a lot of things that don't happen often in the series, but it is unique like the other good episodes from the first 5 seasons. If you think School's Out the Musical is your favorite episode, please let me know in the comments and tell me why you think that and why you think this. Or if you don't think that, tell me what is your favorite episode and why, and what do you think of School's Out the Musical. I'm excited to hear your thoughts. And if you want to see the entire special as a whole, the link is below the description. Sayonara, and see you next time.